Hey, what's good, people? This is episode 161. Maybe. Maybe I'm Jason DeBillius. Maybe that girl over there, maybe she's Kristen Nuss. Let's go Facebook Live. Let's play with some people. Hey, the episode starts right now. What's up, Kristen?
What's up, Jason?
How you doing? You know, I thought I was gonna come in soft, but I think the level of excitement, if I just get it out of my system, then we can dance. All right,
All right.
ladies and gentlemen, you have asked, and you have asked, asked, and you shall receive. Because for me, I've got to give the people what they want. Dun, 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 dun. Kristen.
Wow.
Nuss.
That was an intro. I
Yes.
appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. So for those of you that are joining me, and those of you that have been living under a rock and don't know who this girl is, this is Kristen Nuss. All right. She played at LSU. I mean, COVID didn't stop her from having an undefeated season. God made only one thing perfect. That was her win-loss record: 36-0, 37-0. Right. On the regional scene, where's my camera? Right there. On the regional scene, Coconut Beach, close to her hometown, won. All right, went to Wapaka. That's Wisconsin. Won. Okay. Oh, wow. Gold Series. Atlanta got to qualify for the main draw. No problem. Qualifier. Main draw. Won. Won to play some FIVB. Got the last spot on the qualifier. Made the main draw. Won. All she does is win. All she does is win. All right. Good. So now let's talk about the Saints.
Oh boy, they did not win a lot this year. That's a tough subject.
Yeah.
But how about those Pelicans?
Well, I'm a Duke head, so I know you got two or three players. I'm from Duke, right? Is Reddick still with y'all?
No, he's not.
No,
He's
it's
not playing anymore.
Who's that tall, thin dude? Look like
Yeah,
he got-
Brandon Ingram.
Brandon Ingram. That's a Duke guy. Zion, of course, obviously
Yep.
is obvious. So
We just need those two to get healthy again,
Yeah.
and then better watch out.
both of my parents went to Duke Law School, so
Nice.
or my girlfriend's parents. So that which kind of makes me a Duke fan. I grew up on St. John's, Syracuse. Those are my people, but I guess it's all ACC. So
Nice.
yeah, let's talk about your Pelicans.
Yeah,
Don't you like the little chippiness they got?
they do. They have an. I think the thing I love most about them is just you watch them and it's just like contagious, their energy and just like their familyness. Like you watch them on the bench, everyone on the bench, you can just tell like they're a team. Like they, unless they're just doing a really good job of faking it, but it's just very enjoyable to watch. And I think the city has seen that, and the city of New Orleans is really kind of backed them and supported them, and very excited for the future. It's bright.
Yeah, it is, and very much synonymous like volleyball and beach volleyball. I think you want if you have a team that's young and it's got all that freaking energy, you want their chip to be just big enough where it doesn't fall off their shoulder.
Yep. And I think the media's kind of helped that. I feel like they're not really they're not really
Right?
telling them or like showing them or showcasing them that they're like a good team. So it really is kind of adding to that chip.
Yep.
So that's kind of, again, it's just kind of fun to watch. And I'm proud that they're the New Orleans team. It's fun.
Yeah, it is. And again, it's like the future, as I share this on my NY Varsity Sports handle. Boom, doing that. The future looks bright, right? I mean, you got Zion. Zion's just got to be able to not stay injured.
Yep. Stay healthy.
Let me ask you something. Sports, right? You're an elite athlete. At some point, I flirted with being an elite athlete, made some money, whatever. But
Heck yeah.
why do some teams have players that get injured more than others? Is there some kind of correlation? Do you know of some correlation between preparation or just who the trainer is and this and that?
I don't know. I think that's a tough question because everyone's so different. I think sometimes there really is just unluckiness. Like you're just like injury after injury. It's like there's no like I feel like there's no correlation. It's just kind of sometimes life just kind of is tough. And I mean, I do think there is a little that goes into it as far as just like what you do in the back end, like recovery and just kind of what you are doing in the gym. Because I am a big believer what you do in the gym for sure is going to affect how you perform on the court, in the sand, wherever. But I don't know. I haven't pinpoint it exactly like, oh, they're doing this and that's leading to injury, or in like any sport. I don't know. It's kind of tough. Sometimes I do think, again, it is just kind of unlucky, and sometimes people are just like so explosive. I think Zion is very explosive, so much so that like his body is just sometimes like, what are you doing?
You saw him rip out of his own sneaker.
Yeah.
Remember
like,
that? It was a college game,
yep,
right?
I do remember
And
that.
like the dude lost his heel. I'm like,
Yeah.
and I'm yelling, he lost his foot. He lost his foot. My girl's like, it's his heel. It's his heel.
Yeah. So that, like, come on, that's unlucky. Like, how
Yeah.
often does that happen? So it's just little things like that. And then again, I think just some people are just like, they out freak their bodies because it's just like, what their body is just like, what are you doing? You're not supposed to be doing that.
No.
So
And just imagine, getting back to that, just imagine the amount of power and burst,
I
and twitch.
cannot.
That just
imagine being
you
in his
literally
body.
ran out of your own
Yeah.
shoes.
Yeah, I just can't imagine like being in his body for a day. Like, what does that feel like? I would just go outside and jump, I think, all day just to like see what it feels like.
No,
But-
no doubt. I think as far as volleyball is concerned, you don't see too many injuries. You see some people with their back or whatever, and this and that. And to me, I'm gonna just call it what it is. They just not training properly. And volleyball players, some of them train like bums, right? They. I'm gonna just put it this way. Where's my camera? If you're spending more time videotaping yourself doing drills, it's probably be equal to or less than the amount of time you're actually doing the training. So stop. All right, nobody cares. Right? Either you do it or you don't. And you could certainly relate to me because you strike me as a bottom line girl. You strike me as a girl that doesn't make a lot of excuses. You strike me as almost an East Coast virtue. Like I'm a Bill Parcells guy. Like Bill Parcells says you are what your record says you are, and that's some cold shit.
Yeah.
Right? But I think for you to enjoy some of the success, and I'm going to give you the floor because I could talk all day. I think how much am I right? As far as the level of success you enjoyed coming from not using rationalizations for shortcomings. Did I phrase that right?
What do you mean?
How much does it come from not accepting excuses? How's that for an English translation?
That's a good one. I mean, I think at the end of the day, every elite athlete, you have to just put in the work and just go after it. I mean, there's so many people. I think my mom always tells me there's always someone out there that's better than you. So you really do. You just have to put in the work and go get it. If you want it, you got it. Again, go put in the work. I think there's so many people who even like ask me like, what do they think they should do to get to the next level, especially like going into college. And it's just like, use that college time to just go. If you want to get better in something, like now's your time in college to go spend those 3 hours at practice doing what you need, what you're trying to get better at. Cause you're not really going to have that when you get to like the next level. You're not going to have those 3 hours every single day of the week.
Sure.
So
Sure
it definitely, you just got to put your head down and get down to it, especially gym, practice, wherever. Just go make it happen.
Does that keep you up at night sometimes?
Maybe sometimes. Sometimes you're just like, man, should we have gone out today? You're like, even in this weather, you're like, sometimes like, we didn't go today, but you're like laying in bed at night and you're like, crap, like, should we have gone? So it is kind of like you go back and forth. Like sometimes I think that is the hardest part of being an elite athlete. It's like you do need to get rest, but your body is always telling you to like go. So it's kind of finding that balance of like, okay, when is my body telling me to like kind of chill out for a little bit? Like you can like take the evening off, take the day off. And I think that's what this past year has kind of taught Taryn and I a lot is, again, we do need to find that balance, and you can't just go all the time. There is parts of the day, parts of the week where you do just need to chill, give your body recovery time.
Yeah, dude, I'm good at doing nothing. You good at doing nothing? She's like, I'm totally
fun.
frigid, Jay.
Yeah.
No, that's good. I mean, because for me, like I have a podcast right now, and if I think that someone is outperforming me, I get up in the middle of the night, and I'm right back in the studio, and I'm just
You're like, how can I make this
tweaking,
better?
fixing, and guys, I'm a freaking moron. I'm just a kid from Brooklyn that's I don't know, an above average Brooklyn kid, but the only reason why I brought it up is because the virtue is the same. Like you try something and it works or it doesn't, and if you don't, do you quit? Do you keep going? And I think in your profession, there has to be this heightened level of something some people consider unfair, right? Like to call you an undersized player for the sport would be an understatement. All right. All right, I don't use inappropriate terms for short people because I ain't trying to get flagged. But wow, Bill Anderson. I'm gonna tell you about him in a minute. He says, "Love your podcast." He
Nice.
said this name from the past. Knowing that you have to run 150 meters for the 100-meter dash, is that something in connection to you? Knowing when you got to slow down or whatever, was that one of the bigger challenges? You feel like if you slow down, that
Yeah, I think
someone's like,
it's kind of funny because we were talking about like a chip on your shoulder, like with
yes,
the Pelicans, and I feel like that's kind of something similar. And like I am obviously smaller, shorter player, so it is kind of like that little chip on your shoulder of like, oh, there's so many people who are like, oh no, she can't do that, or oh, she like people even in like warm ups. I'm sure they look across the net and they're like, oh, she's 5'6" and Taryn's 6'4", so we're definitely gonna serve the 5'6" girl. So I mean, going into all matches, like knowing that's what people like see, it's just kind of like, oh, all right, here we go. It adds that little bit of, for sure, extra motivation and just for me, like going out, I really when starting this whole thing, I was like, I just want to inspire other people. And I think that's for sure what makes my day, the amount of messages and just people that have reached out being like, whether it's a mom or a dad or even the daughters reaching out, just saying how much like I've inspired them to keep playing the sport. That's for me what makes me do it, get up, hit the gym. Like, I'm like, man, if I can inspire just one person to go keep pursuing their dreams, I'm like, all right, it's all worth it.
wow, this is why I get someone to check my show. I had the camera just on you even when I was talking, so now we're on split, so we're
Perfect.
good. Yeah, and as a caveat, and continue to this conversation, but I want to jump out and say that I really love that you're loyal to your people. You know what I'm saying? Like when
Like
I
you have
met
to be.
you, and when a lot of people didn't know about you, Sean LaDiggs, the one that put me on to you, Sean, and Sean, who's an absolute mensch. For y'all that don't know what the word mensch means, look it up because I use it on this podcast too many times. Y'all should know what mensch means. And I'll tell you after the show, but I think you know, so you can stop shaking your head like you know, like you know what I'm talking about. The same people that you were associated with back then are still the same people that are with you and that you're associated with now. Your people are loyal to you, and you're loyal to your people. And that virtue in this sport, beach volleyball, where cliques are so many and at certain levels, when you finally get there, you find yourself almost proud to be part of that clique because, you know, you got to eat crap from them for such a long time. But what you have right now is golden. I'm not even sure if I'm asking you a question here, but no, I just wanted to let you know as a caveat that it's cool and it's refreshing. And the TKN army gets bigger because you allow yourself to let them take that journey with you, if you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Something you want to add to that?
No, I mean, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the people that supported me from the beginning. So how could I just blow them off or anything? Like,
Well, you could, but you chose not to.
I mean, I don't know how people do that because I really would not be in this position without every single person that has led me on this journey to get here. And I think the TKN Nation, like you said, it is kind of crazy just how much it has grown and just how many people have gotten on board. And I mean, there's been some pretty surreal moments this year, like in Phoenix, the AVP Phoenix Championships. It was the championship match and we're all in the Phoenix Arena, which is a really cool venue. And
yeah, it turns
the
out
first time out in that championship match, we're walking to our benches, and the crowd erupted into a TKN chant. It was like TKN, and it was like so loud. And me, Taryn, and Drew were sitting at the bench, and it was like we're supposed to be like talking strategy. The three of us are all just like sitting in the chair, just like watching the crowd, just in complete awe. It was just like a moment of just like, this is surreal. Like, this is so wild. And like thinking about that, I get goosebumps. Like, it was just the coolest thing. And again, we were so incredibly thankful for all of the support we've gotten from Louisiana, from just everyone, all across the country, across the world. People have just been reaching out, and we feel the love, and we greatly appreciate it all.
Sometimes, and the thing that makes what you said so cool is sometimes elite athletes are so locked in. Some of them have a hearing mechanism. They just mute it and they play, right? Especially if they're an unfriendly. If you're in a major sport where you're playing in unfriendly territory, like Kevin Costner, that movie For the Love of the Game, he sees people cursing at him. He's like, mechanism on. And then you just see, right? And you don't hear nothing. So for you to not only have this moment that you can look back in retrospect, but actually be a prisoner of the moment in a good way. It's like you said, it's goosebumps.
Yeah, it really is.
Who'd you play in the finals?
We played Chang and Flint. Chang and Flint in the finals.
That's a new, I mean, whoever Flint plays with now, I think that's a new rivalry. I think it's a 3-horse race to a 2-team Olympics right now.
I think there's a ton of teams. I mean,
at the end of the day, I'm gonna be real with you. I know you're trying to be respectful, but at the end of the day, it's a 3-horse race to a 2-team Paris.
I may disagree with you. There's a lot of team. There's a lot more teams out there. Yeah. It's gonna be a fight. It'll be a fun race.
The thing I like about women's volleyball is that on any given day, anyone in the top 16 can take your lunch money.
Oh,
there are no major upsets anymore. All right. Okay. Hagen, Smith, and Dietrich over Try and Trevor. That's a major upset.
Yep.
All right. Like Taylor a couple of years ago, Taylor and Jake losing to Ospina and Lotman. Lotman was still a puppy. That's an upset, right? How about for my older people, Rafa Rodriguez and Kevin McCulloch, right? As a 16 seed, beat Gibbon Patterson. That's an upset. It is not an upset to see Fallon team up with someone and beat you in 3. It's not an upset for Sarah Hughes to play with Kelly Kalinske and ball out and this and that. But I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is when it counts, that moment whether you do or you do not, where you are what your record says you are at the end of it. It is a 3-person team in a 2-horse race. And I'm glad that we disagree with it, because you ain't come on this show to agree to just disagree with me.
Yep.
And besides, you got an army. I'm by myself. I'm by myself on this opinion. I'm telling you, because you're not alone on this. All right. You have an army. I have a Hulk. She
Love
gets
it.
the reference. But so let's go to the finals, and that's Chang and that's Flint.
Mm-hmm.
They announced the starting lineup. Did it go to 2 or 3?
It was 2.
It was 2. You're up 1-0. Mm-hmm. All right. You're sitting there. Is Drew with you?
He was.
Yeah. So you're up 1-0, but this team's beaten you before, and this team it's been quite the rivalry.
Yeah, we were going back and forth.
If there's such thing as a rivalry.
Yeah.
This year, at least for this year. Right? Because rivalries are not rivalries if you just keep beating the one team over. No, that's not a rivalry. Right? Boston wasn't a rivalry with my team until they beat us in 2004.
Yep.
Now I got to listen to them for the rest of my life. But so you're up 1-0. You're with Drew, whatever. You're taking your moment. Give me your thought process.
I think for me that whole Phoenix venue and event, Tara and I were it was one of those moments we were just clicking. Like, it was like we were feeling good. So I think in that timeout and everything, we were probably not even talking about volleyball. We were probably talking about random things. We've kind of done that a lot of the times in like tense moments or in championship games. Especially Drew will be like, we'll talk about the randomest things just to kind of get our mind off of volleyball. Obviously, then when we walk back on the court, it's like we're back in focus. But a lot of times we'll talk a lot of. Last year we were talking about Ted Lasso in the middle of our timeouts and stuff, even at like crucial points, because it was just like at the end of the day, we know what we need to do. We know our game. We trust our game. We have confidence in that. So it's you don't always have to be like racking your brain of like, oh, we have to do this, this, and this. It is just kind of like, all right, we're gonna take a little break to give our mind a little break. And I do give credit to Drew a lot, especially when he's with us on the AVP. He helps doing that. And again, like I said, Phoenix, we were feeling good, so it wasn't really anything that he needed to tell us that would have made a big difference. It was just like we just had to keep doing what we were doing. But yeah, it was. I loved Phoenix. That venue was just insane. The crowd, I don't know if it was because it was at night, indoor, I don't know, but the crowd was just like next level. So it was just, we were probably honestly just sitting there like taking it in, just watching everyone.
Yeah, man. And indoor volleyball at night is definitely going to attract the attention of more multiple fans, people that made the trip. One of my favorite fighters, Henry Cejudo, from the UFC. I don't know if you watch mixed martial arts, but he's also an Olympic gold medalist in freestyle wrestling. He was there. He was out there chilling or whatever. He's this larger than life character, but he's not. He fights at 135. So he's this tiny guy, but if you're sitting next to him, whatever, and you see him, there's something like, okay, you see handsome guys, but he's like a half level more handsomer. He's animated. You see animated people, but he's a whole level more animated. And there's some people that have that presence. And there's only him. I mean, you can name him by name in your life, right?
Yep.
Like I met Bill Clinton. That guy has a bright light. Now, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, you cannot deny that this man has this bright light behind him. And when he moves, the people with him, like pigeons to bread, they just freaking move with him.
Yeah, that is crazy. There are people like that, and just like,
yeah, Taryn's got a lot of that. Tell me Taryn don't got a little bit of that.
No, for sure.
You know,
for sure.
She wears her heart on her sleeve. She has a theater performance face.
Yeah. Oh,
you have a theater. You have a film face. Remember we had this discussion before the podcast, like theater performances.
Yeah. Wow, that actually is
film
very
for
accurate.
you is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very accurate. Wow. It's a good reference. Wow.
Yeah. Well, when you're a fan of someone, you start to see mannerisms, you know. And me specifically, who studied theater, that's why I use the reference. I'm always seeing how I would impersonate a character and this and that. But for the record, before I go on to my next question, I want to let the audience know I'm a fan. And it takes every bit of discipline to hold my professionalism. I have 3 female players that I watch because you guys know me, I'm a hater / purist. So I don't really follow a particular player, but the 3 players I follow for women are her partner in crime, and Chrissy Jones, who's now, where the hell is she? But I think I do know what her deal is. Her husband injured his neck. Her husband was a Marine.
Oh my goodness! Really?
I don't know the extent of the injury, but I know it didn't happen overseas. I know it happened. He got back in one piece, and in a field training exercise, he hurt his neck. So maybe.
Oh my gosh!
Maybe I'll just call. I have her number. Maybe I'll just call her and ask her. Not now, people. Not now. We're not doing this now. Yeah, but she's one of my favorite females. And men, I already told you who my men are. Yep. And for everybody else, mind your business. I remember you playing college with Coppola. Semifinals. Right? You're going against Tina, right? Tina Gradina.
Yeah.
And this and that. And what a lot of people don't know, because people only remember who won. They don't remember runners up. They don't remember third place people.
Yep.
When you came away from that semifinals, what were your thoughts on like the next season was going to look like? Because Coppola was done, right? That was her last year.
No, we're the same age.
Oh, cool.
Me and Claire are the same age.
Yeah, but was there this sense about just finishing what you started? I want you to take me a little bit, because I got to give you the floor here. I want you to take me a little bit from that loss in the semifinals to how you met up with Taryn, to making this team that's took the college world by storm. That I guess launched the TKN Army.
Yeah.
The floor is yours.
I think as far as how Taryn and I started, it was really COVID had a lot to do with that. I mean, we as an LSU team that without a doubt, hands down, that 2020 season, we were going to go win a national championship. Like that core of group of seniors and like 5th year seniors, it was like we were on a mission.
It was the perfect storm.
It really was. And I think even after, so we found out our season had ended. I think it was about like 3 or 4 weeks into the season. We had just become the number 1 ranked team. And it was like the weekend after we beat UCLA. They were number 1 and we were number 2. We beat them, so we jumped to number 1. And even going into that season, that group of seniors and 5th year seniors, it was just like, we're going to win a national championship and no one's going to stop us. Like, we were like just on board. Everyone was on the same page. And when COVID broke.
And then.
Yeah. So, and actually when COVID broke, we even had people from like other teams being like, I'm so sorry. Like, y'all were going to do it this year. It was just like, oh, dagger to the heart. But anyway, so COVID happened. Everyone goes home, all that stuff. And Taryn was up home, and it was like winter time, so she couldn't do anything. She was up in South Dakota, so she had messaged me, and she was like, hey, do you want to like just train or something? Like, I'm bored, like I can't really go outside. She was like, I'll come back to Louisiana and we can train. I was like, yeah, sure. I mean, like, I'm just sitting at my house, like not really doing anything either. So she came, and we just start training. We started doing a bunch of training. We started getting in the gym, doing stuff with our coach, our now coach, Drew Hamilton. He was telling us what to do in the gym and stuff like that. And you could just see like a change. Like we were definitely like, okay, this is getting pretty serious. Like, let's go play in some AVP Next tournaments. Let's just go see what happens. And we were just finding success after success. It was like, okay, this is kind of working. Like, let's keep doing this. And I think as that progress and that success kept going, it was like, okay, I think we can actually like take this to the next level. And then that's when season started again. And again, that same group, everyone, all the seniors ended up coming back, and it was like, we want to go win a national championship. And I had been playing with Claire for the past 3.5, 4 years. And then for that final season, the coaches just decided, since I think just Taryn and I were on that successful run, they were like, we're just going to leave y'all together and just kind of see what happens. And unfortunately, LSU did not win, which I still to this day am a little upset. We still did not win a national championship. But
you were right there, dude.
We were so close, so close. But yeah, after that undefeated season, we just kind of, again, the success, we just kind of took it to then the AVP. And it was just like, we haven't really stopped since then. It was like, since COVID happened, it was just like, we're just going to keep going and let's do it. We actually, I'll never forget, we went, it was like probably like a month into when Taryn came back, and we went to our coach, Drew, and we were like, we want to do this. Like, how can we take the next step to becoming like professionals, going from college to professional? There's a little bit of a jump, and it was just like, whatever you tell us to do, we're going to do it. And he just laid it all out. He gave us a workout plan. He was with us in practice. And I think, we just kind of took it and ran with it. Everything that he was saying, it was just like, got it. Yes, let's do it. And yeah, here we are today.
You know, that COVID year was, I would call this bump somewhere in the middle of what we might both affectionately refer to as the perfect storm. You take into consideration the NCAA beach volleyball climate, right? It's 6 years old, right? So now, because it's an NCAA sport, now all the club sizes have tripled, and now it's more of a business, right? Mm-hmm. We're definitely going to talk about coaching and real coaches and people who jump in front of the parade and act like coaches, and I'll do the haterade later. Served in vanilla. I thought it was a perfect storm because, and you'll appreciate this, and I'm going to give you the floor back because you have more inside insight. You're in this environment where your college experience is 11 months out of your 12 months, maybe 10 and a half, whatever, depending on where you are. You don't have to worry about gym memberships. You don't have to worry about trainers. You don't have to worry about hiring a coach. In fact, coaches in your face every time you get it. So, yep. So you got girls that are by the time they graduate on the women's AVP scene, they're hot 97 run ready. They're ready to win, be in the semifinals and finals right then. And you went from that to even having girls who were in their junior and senior year, who are still in college. Like, right, Tina was in the freaking Olympics,
yep.
Right?
Yep.
Her junior year, still had one more year with Dane. Yep. So that semifinal match I call the Battle of the Goofy Foots, and I think you'll appreciate the one, yep. Right? Because yep. Coppola was lefty approach too, right?
Yep.
All right. So I'm giving you the floor on this one. And as far as timing is concerned, do you agree that it becoming an NCAA sport, and then like 2 or 3 years down the line, and I want you to say this in the nicer way because I'm going to be cold, your generation of girls, pretty much right after Sarah and Kelly, mm-hmm. told the girl that everybody else who was not Ross and Kleiman, your time's up. If you don't do what we're doing, if you're just going to, rest on your loins and your skill set and be this, your time's up. Now, please say this the nicer way.
I definitely think college provided an opportunity for girls, to just get so many reps. Like, I'm a professional beach volleyball player right now. That is my job. And in college, I got significantly more reps. Like, we had 3 hours of every single day of the week, and sometimes on weekends, of just playing beach volleyball. Like, you can't replicate that in a pro career. They're just like, it's crazy. I'm like, I don't even know how we had time in the day, because we do not get that much training time right now.
And you're full-time students too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's so crazy, and that is 100% why this sport has just taken off. And you see all these people in college being able to then just play against the best of the best in the sport, just because I think it's literally just based on reps and just the amount of times you are just touching beach volleyball while you're in college is just unmatched. And yeah, it's been insane just how the level of play is just shot up. And again, hands down, all of that credit goes to it being a collegiate sport.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wow. Hold on. I had this little flashback. I wanted to give a shout out to Derek Zimmerman. I don't care what the preacher man says about him. I'm shouting him up on my podcast. That's my dude. I love me some DZ. He played with your brother, right?
Yeah, he did.
He did. And of course, Bruce White.
Yep. Good old Bruce.
Russell Brock coming down there making things happen. That little two-headed monster between him and Hamilton when I met the two of them. Because, I used to do the juniors events for beach volleyball national events. I used to do color commentary. And I was also the volleyball skills coach for Endless Summer, which now has like 3 girls at SC. Natalie Miskowski's at UCLA. She's, Again, there are a lot of clubs that got in their senior year and jumped in front of that parade and acted like that was them. But I wanted to shout out some of these absolute savages. Zim, who cares about the sport so much, And we're going to talk, I'm saving the drum roll for your coach last. I'm going to save the best for last. Russell Brock. So this guy on the West Coast doesn't live here anymore. His name is Oz Borges. He's this Cuban guy that was this strict, old school, come on time, don't talk back to me type dude, but was one of the best coaches no one talks about. Like, because when you talk about Endless Summer, you're talking about Pompilio, who was with us, right? Drill bass guy, Arturo. I was there, because I was a skills Nazi, because I brought the high level indoor mentality to the beach. But I wanted to shout out some of these people that I'm not gonna use this podcast and let some of these glorified babysitters jump in front of that parade. Yep. I respect Holly. She's a real coach. She's elite. But I think Fanoy's all right too. And Dane has earned his respect. That man was a long-time assistant, and right. He should be one of the GOATs. Okay, for what he's doing. But let's talk about Drew Hamilton. All right, and we can get a little mushy if you want. All right, because we got permission to do this. Yeah. Tell me, on a general level, what Drew Hamilton means to you and Taryn, on this general level for volleyball, and then you're gonna give me permission to get into the other.
Drew has for sure taught me everything I know about this sport. As a junior, beach volleyball wasn't a huge thing, especially in Louisiana. Not many people are playing beach volleyball, so we didn't have like a coach or anything that was telling us how to play the sport. So I really didn't know anything about beach volleyball until I got to LSU. And Drew just saw something in me, and he was like, again, it kind of goes back to, he was just like, hey, do this, and this. And I was like, yes, sir, got it. And just everything that he has taught me, he has told me, I've just tried to just take it all in and just listen and do what he says. And I would not be in this position or be doing what I am doing without him. So I will forever be grateful and indebted to him, because, again, everything that I know is he has taught me. And I think similar for Taryn. She came into from indoor to beach and didn't really know anything. And I think Drew just helping her and telling her these things. And I think also, especially with Taryn, was a lot of the other beach players on the LSU team, especially blockers, because Drew was always a defender. So I think he more so can relate to defenders more so than blockers. But yeah, we would not be in this position without him. We would not be able to excel to where we are today without him. So
he's coming with you if you go to the Olympics, right?
Oh, 100%. We will drag him. He's not big on planes or flying. Yeah. So he only does the state ones, like he'll come to the AVPs.
Right.
We 100% will figure out how to get him on a plane to Paris.
Don't have to do that. Put his ass in a canoe like 4 months ahead of time.
Nice little boat.
Stroke.
I would love to see that. That would be comical.
Cool. Jaron Barreto comes in. He says, college is the new culture for breeding Olympians. I said it.
That is very true.
You know Jaron, right? Jaron's the guy with the dreads, Filipino
Oh,
guy.
yeah.
Oh, talk about real coaches. That dude is the real deal.
Yep.
I didn't mean to go on this tirade about good coaches no one talks about, because I felt like, and in many ways, I still feel like Drew Hamilton's in that category. Mm-hmm. You should be talking about this guy. Not you, but we should be highlighting this guy.
Yeah.
We should be talking about this guy.
I almost don't want to talk about him so much because I'm like, no one else coach.
Yeah.
I don't want him to coach anyone else.
Yeah. Hi, Drew.
Selfish.
Hi, Drew. My name's Megan. Get the... smack you to sleep. Don't even come near my coach.
Yeah.
Silly.
Yeah.
Silly.
Don't do it.
Nah. So the good thing is you didn't allow me to get into the other, because I think what he means to you professionally is also what he means to you personally, right? There is this emotional investment. I mean, maybe, you know, you're not tight friends and you got Taryn and you got friends, old friends for that, but there is this emotional investment that comes with the life of being an indoor and beach volleyball player and coach. I don't think there's any sport except mixed martial arts where our strength and our weakness is we personalize our work.
Yeah.
What's your biggest strength? This is personal to you, right?
Man. Yeah.
What's your biggest weakness? This is personal to you. It's not that I'm psychic or anything. And you know, I could be wrong. You can make me feel like if I'm wrong, I'm good. But I think I got you on that one.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, it hurts too much when you put in all that work and you want it for Taryn and you want it for yourself and you want it for Drew so badly.
Yep. I think that's also another, even back to kind of the beginning of just like how you like wake up and go, you want to go like get after it and stuff. It is like you want to do it for them. You want to do it for Taryn. You want to do it for Drew. You want to make them proud. You want to, do it for all the people back home, the day one people who have been supporting you. You want to do it for them. Like show them their support, and like it all means something. So
yeah. All right. So I've asked some other guests this, so this is kind of a loop, a recycle. You have 60 seconds. I want you to give me your 3 favorite venues that you played the last 2 years. And I will give you my 3 favorite venues I like to coach or visit. All right. Okay. So we'll do a little back and forth. You hear the horn when it hits 3-0. So floor is yours. Go.
Got it. Stadt, Switzerland. Phoenix, indoor. And third one, New Orleans AVP.
Talk to me about Stadt since you got 50 seconds left.
Yeah, I crushed that. Stadt, by far the prettiest place I've been to. I had heard so much about just like the tournament, and I always wanted to play in the Stadt tournament. And I got there, and you're just playing in the mountains. And then we ended up getting 5th, so we had a couple extra days to explore, and we got to go walk on a glacier. We got to go walk from one mountain peak to another mountain peak just across this bridge. It was by far, I still to this day, I'm like, Mom and Dad, that's the one you got to come to. It was just so breathtaking. Like the views, it was unbelievable. So,
nice. Cool.
And then Phoenix crowd was just insane. New Orleans AVP was just playing at home, and it was just awesome.
Yeah. No, you talking about New Orleans? Sorry about that. You talking about New Orleans? The 2021 or the one last year?
The one last year.
Okay.
The AVP, the tour series or pro series.
Right. Yeah, I had the pleasure of calling center court for the one the year before. You won, but you'd won by forfeit.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, they I called Rafu and Piotr against Evan Corey, which is right. Didn't you want it for him too?
Oh,
right?
for sure. Yeah, I think we were both like, all right, let's go, let's do it. We're doing this.
Boy,
for
is
Louisiana.
he growing up, huh?
Oh yeah.
He's this big kid with like wide cartoon eyes when I met him, and now his cheekbones are higher, the eyes are smaller.
Yep.
He stands with this heightened level of confidence, psychologically, because he's always had physical confidence, and he's less wowed. And some of these plays, whether it's good or bad, he has his face like it's exactly what he thought was going to happen, and good for him. And I'm also glad that his ascension hasn't changed him that much either.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
he's still, for the most part, I'm not gonna say completely the same person because I can't lie to my people. For the most part, he's the same person.
Yeah.
He could be a little flaky too, but he's no, but I like that dude. He's a mensch dude.
Nice.
You know. And we mentioned off camera Eric Baranek. I met
Yep.
him 5 years ago. He's still Eric.
Yep.
He's still Eric. Theo.
Oh, yeah.
He's still
Theo's
Theo.
awesome.
Trevor, even when with him, he's on next week. He's more. I won't say he's my favorite crap. No, he is my favorite crap. I like him because he brings more to the toolbox. He can block. He can play defense. And every time there's a finals, it's him and someone else.
Yeah, does seem like that.
Well, you've been in the sport long enough, right? When
Yeah.
him and his brother broke up, it was him and Rosie. Boom, finals. Him and John Mayer.
Yep.
Boom. It's him and
I mean, Manhattan Beach Open. He's
Reed Pretty.
Now,
right. That was Reed
yeah.
Pretty.
Yeah.
The first one.
Yeah. Crazy.
All right, so I'm gonna go 60
Your
seconds on my 3 favorite venues I like as a coach. Good. I'm gonna delete this video. It chopped on us, and I'll reinstitute it later. I'm gonna put it back up after mine. All right, my 3 favorite venues. Number 1 is New York City. New York City, when you get on the train and you get off the train and you cross the Hudson, and they have this man-made setup built because what they am I still doing my clock? So they moved it from Pier 25 to like closer to Chelsea Piers, and they got more people because it was closer to the train station, it was closer to the restaurants. And I know it's a pain in the ass to get in and out of, like flying wise, but when you're in, the fans from different countries, the Polacks from South Brooklyn, the Dominicans from uptown, the Chinese from Chinatown, the Koreans from Flushing, the Russians from Brighton Beach. They're all there, man. All one little world population. Second venue was New Orleans, because New Orleans gave me my first kind of major opportunity, because I still think I'm one of the best color commentators in the game. I just don't have the opportunities, and Ladig and a bunch of New Orleans people insisted that I come, and I came and I delivered. So that was more of a selfish thing.
Yep.
Third thing, I guess I got to go with Granddaddy. I got to go with Manhattan Beach, with a close tie as Hermosa Beach, because that's where I live in the finals. There's always this nostalgia about performing on the big stage or not, and even if you win or lose, you felt like you won. I had the pleasure of covering it as a journalist for Volleyball 1-on-1, and then coaching Jeff Samuels last year and this and that. So and coaching a team into the main draw, Rafu and Kevin, in Manhattan Beach 2016, a tournament I played in myself and got my ass kicked. I wanted to play one so this way people could shut up about the gladiators in the arena, right? You've never been in there? Yes, I did. I was 47. I got my ass handed to me. So there.
Love it.
So that's a lightning round question. Example of a lightning round. We're gonna have a total of 3.
All right.
All
I
right?
like the New York. I actually went. I played in like the qualifier. This was like a while ago.
With who? Who was it?
Megan Davenport.
Yes.
Was actually my first beach partner. And still one of my best friends. But yeah, we lost in the qualifier. This is when we didn't really know what we were doing. We were so young. And I went with her dad, and we went back and we were watching. I think it was probably Championship Sunday. We just went and we were watching, and it was like, I think it was one of those moments of like, whoa, like I want to do that. So it's just
were
funny
you
you
in
talked
Brooklyn,
about that.
or were you at
We were-
Pier 25
we were
in
on,
Manhattan?
Yeah, Pier 25.
Yeah, that's a nice place. Night
was-
lights, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Well, that's where the qualifier was, right? And
Yeah.
then the actual tournament was, they had like made the courts and
What
stuff.
year was that again? Tell me, because it'll draw a better picture. If it was
Shoot.
2019.
No, it was before that. This was earlier.
Yeah, because that's where the tournament was.
Yep.
That's where the draw was. And
Yep.
the qualifier was split between Pier 6
Yep.
and Brooklyn.
Yep.
Where I guess the men that year, the men played
Yep.
or whatever and this and that. So
But yeah, it was funny you talked about New York because it was a cool venue.
yeah. All right, we're back on the live. Cool.
We're back.
Yeah, don't worry about any of this, because if the live goes down, this thing, even if all the
still
lights
rolling.
go out, this thing, the whole world goes to hell. The cameras are battery operated, and we're still doing this, and we're having a good time and
Perfect.
talking and this and that. So I remember you mentioned COVID and how your season got shut down. I had this flashback of Evan Corey playing at Lincoln Memorial and talking about how his season got shut down. And I remember a previous podcast how you guys were like, this guy's gonna make us cry. He's not. No, I'm not gonna cry. That hurt. I remember. Can you remind everybody where you were when? Were you at an airport? Where were you when everybody's like?
When our
season's
season
over?
ended?
Yes.
We were, I think I was in Costco, in Baton Rouge in Costco. And the coaches had told us, like, because we had been hearing everything or whatever. And I think we saw like some tweet and we were like, did our season just end? And funny enough, then we got a message of like, hey, we're having a meeting, and we were like, what in the world? And then that meeting was in our beach facility, and there was not a dry eye in there. Every single one of our coaches, Drew, Russell, it was like as soon as they started talking, it was just like tears, and just everyone. I mean, talk about heartbreak. But I mean, I can't. That's just a volleyball season. Like, I can't imagine for the people who lost loved ones. Like, I mean, obviously it was just a crazy time, but yeah, I do very vividly remember all that, and it was heartbreaking.
It was for me too. I didn't get a chance to bury my father. My father passed away in February 2020.
Oh my gosh.
He's on the East Coast, and then if you remember, you couldn't even fly. So. And
even if you were there, you probably couldn't even like get into the hospital. It was, I'm so sorry. It was crazy times.
Also, at the same time, I want to commend you and Taryn for, you find yourself doing nothing for a long time. And you're like, wait, I gotta find a way to maximize my time. With you, it was you guys mentally and physically preparing and gelling as a team. And me, it was maybe we had this discussion about finding ways to improve the podcast. And like Zoom saves all, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, man.
Dude,
Zoom.
You guys were Zoom, right? First time. And, Sharif happened because of Zoom, right?
Yeah.
Sharif from Qatar. Mackenzie was in Malaysia at the time.
Yeah.
Or I forgot. Malaysia, Thailand, doesn't matter. It's all Greek to me.
Seriously.
Yeah. Here's a fan question. Are you the best player in the world?
Oh, wow. That's a tough one. I mean, I think for any elite athlete, you have to like really think that to be able to just go out and perform, because as soon as you don't think that, you're going to lose.
But that's the chip we were talking about.
And so you kind of like, it's like a yes, but you also have to realize that there are other people out there that are probably better than you. So it's like you have to keep striving to get to them. So I think the answer is like yes and no, which is a weird answer to that question, because I don't even know if you can actually answer that in a yes or no, but I'm going to answer it as in a yes or no, because but then also I know there's people out there better than me, and I need to keep getting better. I'll leave it at that.
Do you know how much discipline it took for me to shut up that whole answer? Because I wanted to see if you just said yes, next question, or if you went the route that some people would consider politically correct, but also at the same time generated by historical fact. And you're right, and I respect that. And the reason why I asked that is because there's some athletes who are animated, right? And they like to whoop it up with the crowd and this and that. Yep. Because I'm going to ask Trevor this on Tuesday, but I think it's because when things go bad, they can take the sauce, right? Yeah. If you throw yourself out there, most people will say there's zero to gain from it, right? You're like, if you do well, it's like you're supposed to, and if you don't, they're the first ones to let you know, right? Yeah. So when you do that, you kind of you feel like you kind of play yourself, right? Yeah. But at the same time, if you have the thick skin, if you could take that sauce, coming back at you, like we think he can. Yeah. I think without that, there are some athletes that don't get to where they are. Yeah. Right? There's some athletes, it inhibits them because they think they're that guy and they're not that person. And maybe they find out later they're not that person.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I for sure think it goes both ways, because I think there is the flip side. You can have someone who maybe isn't, and then they think that, and it just brings their game up. So it's like
nice.
Kind of, yeah.
So question, did you play indoor before you played beach?
I did. I played not in college, but I played for my high school team. For Mount Carmel Academy, good old Mount Carmel, go Cubs.
There it is.
But I never really did the club scene because I was always playing basketball, so it kind of conflicted. So I really just kind of played indoor for my high school and then played basketball for my high school. So I think I played club volleyball for like 2 weeks because I went and like subbed for someone. A team needed me for something, so I just went and subbed. But yes.
Good. That introduces us to our next lightning round question. Oh. I want you to give me 3 things you like about beach more than indoor. Now, you got 60 seconds. You can answer all 3, whichever one comes first. In fact, when the horn comes, that's just like finishing your debate You're finishing your debate answer. And go.
I don't know if this like encompasses all 3, but beach, you have to do everything. Like if I wanted to go, I always wanted to play at a D1 school. And for indoor, before beach even happened, when I was looking at like doing indoor, I was like, I'm only going to be a libero or a DS or something. Like that's just like, that wasn't fun to me. Like there's something about hitting a ball that just brings you so much adrenaline and everything. And it was just like, no, I don't want to do that. So then when beach came in, it was like, oh my gosh, I have to be able to pass, set, hit, and I get to play defense too. It's like, this is awesome. So beach, you have to do it all. And I think that's for sure the number one thing. Probably number two, I would say just the atmosphere and environment is a little different. You're not in a convention center gym with hundreds of whistles blowing and you're out, you're on a beach. I mean, there's music playing, like you can't really beat that. That was all. And then third, I think just the different environments, kind of similar but not really, but you get to be on beaches just like in crazy parts of the world. Like literally we played in Stad. We were just on some sand in the middle of some mountains. Like while we were literally in the middle of the game, we would like sometimes, again, kind of in those intense moments, you kind of want to just chill out for a minute. And Taryn and I would just be like, we're in the Alps. And you just like take a minute, you like look around, and you're like, whoa. And if I was playing in a gym, what would I do? Look, see the ceiling? Like, oh, that's a nice ceiling we have here in Stad, Switzerland. Like, so I think those are probably my top three.
Okay, I'm going to give you my top three as a coach and a commentator. I'll do the last one for commentator, first two as a coach. One you already stumbled in on. Okay, one, I want to talk about a disease. Okay, it's called post-referee whistle syndrome. You come out of there, you wake up in the middle of the night like, you know what I'm saying, punching yourself in the face, and you feel traumatized, not just by the referee whistles, but also these parents in this indoor environment act like gangster rappers walking around mean mugging people. It's like, dude, relax. You've won. All right. Second thing I like about it, and this is a coach, there's no bench on the beach. If there's no bench on the beach, you don't have to worry at the club level. You don't have to worry about parents and playing time. And on a coaching level, less is more, because now you give more personal attention to that person, where you're allowed to hone and fix things or this and that. Now, what I like about beach as a commentator is you don't have to waste a whole bunch of time trying to give everybody some love. Sometimes in indoor volleyball, you talk about the stars, you talk about the setter and this and that, and you mix it up a little bit. Mm-hmm. But having these small breaks in the technical timeout and this and that, you could talk about some of these personal and professional journeys. Sometimes I talk to the players before the tournament comes. You know, I think I talked to you in New Orleans before you guys came out. And those are the three things I like about indoor over the beach. I mean, if I only had to pick one thing the other way around, I'm like indoor, my car's cleaner. Dude, I go to indoor gym. If I clean my car and I go to indoor gym parking lot, I'm good. My car's still clean.
I actually surprisingly don't have that much sand in my car. I don't know how, but Taryn and I do a good job. I really don't know how, but obviously there's for sure sand in the car. But obviously if I played indoor, I wouldn't still. I think the number one thing, I find sand just in my ears, like all the time. I'm just like, how is it still in my ears? I'll not play beach for a week and there's still sand in my ear. I'm like, what in the world?
All right, maybe I should rat Taryn out. She's been putting sand in your ear while you're sleeping.
Shoot, gotta be.
She put it on TikTok. Watch this, guys.
Gosh, man, I must be a deep sleeper then.
Okay. Message you want to send to kids coming up after you. All right, I'll draw the picture for you, all right? It's a kid, she's your height. Maybe she's in a club where the club coach lines all of the kids up against the wall, right? You're tall, you're going to play middle. You're going to be a libero. Forget about playing outside and this and that. Is there something, this little kid comes up to you and says, I want to be like you, if not very much like you. Or no, little kids don't talk like that. No, Kristen, I want to be just like you. Tell me how. What can you tell me that's going to make me a better player and that's going to overcome some of these obstacles?
I think it's just you have to put in the work, and if it's something that you believe in and you want, you're going to make it happen. So if, say, playing on the AVP is your goal, I would say, okay, what are you going to do to get... I think I would rephrase the question back to them, but like, okay, what are you going to do? And also, I think something that I tell people a lot too when I get this question is I'm like, hey, you do realize you may have to work a little harder than, say, someone who is a little taller. I'm like, you may have to do 150 reps even though they only have to do 100, or just some things like that. Like, you probably are going to have to pass a perfect ball, so you may be practicing how to pass for an hour when they're over there hitting the ball, but passing a perfect ball is going to be way more important for you than, say, someone who's taller. So for sure, I get this question a lot, and I will always probably just say, one, if it's 100% what you want, you believe in, go make it happen. And I want you to realize, though, that it is going to take a lot of work, and you're probably going to have to put in more work than someone who is taller. It's just, sorry, these are the cards you're dealt, but hey, you can still work with it.
If you weren't Kristen Nuss, if you didn't practice what you preach in regards to your own journey consistent with the advice you give to that little kid, if you weren't Kristen Nuss, I would have thought you had been in this room and you took all the words that I would say to a little kid. I'm like, I was just going to say that. If it wasn't you, I would have thought I got Eminem. Remember 8 Mile when like he said everything, before the other guy could say it or whatever and this and that. Yep. I was like, I just got Eminem by Kristen Nuss because I just had this conversation with some kids. And it's very much the same, echoing your sentiment. Mm-hmm. Meaning that, look, I'm a realist, right? You want to be an outside hitter indoor. Most of those girls are 6'1", you're 5'8", 5'9", whatever. But like you said, what do you want? If it's what you really want, that's the box. Those are the bleacher stairs. That's the coach. Let's get to work. It's gonna be unfair, but the reward, if you don't take the unfair bullshit, kicking and screaming, you get rewarded for not taking that kicking and screaming.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you did. That's why I call you the girl of no excuses. Maybe you do a whole lot of bitching when you're not on camera, but
I mean, don't get me wrong. There are for sure times where I'm like, man, if I was like 5'8" or 5'9", wow, this would be a lot easier.
Probably wouldn't work as hard.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes you, in a game that is very hard to be perfect, it makes you really strive to be perfect because you almost have to. You have to be able to hit, say, a pulling blocker. You have to be able to score against a pulling blocker, and some people can just get up and hit the crap out of the ball and it'll score. Not everyone can do that. You have to be able to have good placement and just like over and over again hit the same spot.
Nice.
But yeah, it's...
Well, I'll go one before to the question you asked back to the kid on what do you want, right? Because what happens before that shapes what they may or may not want. That's that coach lining those kids against the wall and telling them what they can and can't do, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
I talked to Bruce White about this. I was doing a documentary called Club Coach, which is post-production. It's just gnarly. It's so much work. You have no idea. Don't do a documentary, right? But it's my baby and it'll get done. Mm-hmm. But Bruce said the same thing I'm going to say right now to our audience. Don't let anybody tell you what you can and can't do.
It's so like simple, but it's so like, that is so true. It's just like, wow. Like, yeah.
Let's say it again so they can hit them here.
Yeah.
There's my camera. Don't let anybody tell you what you can and what you cannot do. Do not let anyone tell you that when you are not psychologically grown, you're not mentally grown as far as IQ and this and that. You're definitely not physically grown. You're still a kid. So, you can't let somebody tell you what you can and can't do when you have aspirations. Now, as a coach and as a hater from Brooklyn, I'm going to be real about the level of unfairness. I'm going to be real about what some people are looking for. It's not you. But like you just said, what do you want? Do you seriously want this? Then, okay, let's go. Because I will tell you this. When we're voting for tournament MVPs or season MVPs, it's not the mythological giants. It's not the big girls. It's not the girls who fit that asshole coaches. Yeah, I said it. Asshole coaches stereotype.
Yep.
It's the normal sized person.
Yeah.
When Misty May was winning the gold, right? She was the MVP. I mean, make an argument for Carrie all you want. That's fine. But at the end of the day, she's the one that got served. She's the one who had to deal with the forearm sets, and she's the one who had to side out, right? A Taylor Crabb was player of the year at Long Beach State in the season. He didn't even make the playoffs. They didn't even make MPSFs. Or maybe they all get invited and he got his head chopped off the first round. I don't know. Bruno Oscar Schmidt, graciously listed at 6 feet tall. Graciously is the operative word there.
Yep.
6 feet tall, relative stress. MVP, tournament MVP. Natalie San, right? Riley Salmon, 6'1", 2008 gold medal team. Never even played NCAA volleyball. Was not only on the starting lineup, but he was a team captain. 6'1". So, Kristen Nuss. I did an awards ceremony, an awards thing with Matt Prosser, who we know and love, and Aaron Wexler, who you may or may not know, West Coast Volleyball. Aaron was the only one that picked you. I picked Kelly. I picked Kelly because some of the things, like, everyone was a prisoner of the moment how you guys finish, and sometimes it is not how you start, it's how you finish.
Yep.
And my award for best team was the two of you, but best player, I don't even know if I like her that much, but I gave it to Kelly.
For sure.
I gave it to Kelly,
I think she deserved it.
Yeah, and you did too, because everyone around in the room, it wasn't like it wasn't a discussion.
Yeah.
That's the point I was trying to make. It wasn't, like, no questions, her. No, it wasn't that.
Yeah.
No. Newcomer of the year. Okay, that's no questions. That's Taylor Sander, right?
Yeah.
Best team of the year. No question. No question. It's TKN. We had a Hitman for Hire award. That's a long discussion, right?
Yeah.
Andy Benesh. That was my Hitman for Hire.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. So, your three favorite venues. We did that already. Now give me one thing. No 60-second thing. One thing you thought your partner did well this season. See how I'm talking about volleyball? I'm not trying to get all up in your... See how I'm not trying to get all personal, all up in your business? I'm tap dancing.
One thing that Taryn did well this year. Man, that's tough because there's...
Pick something fundamentally or psychologically.
There's so many different ways my brain just went.
What was the first thing?
I think her... Because obviously, so she's pretty new to beach volleyball, so there was so much, like, still to this day, there's just so many things that it's just like, hey, do this, do that, and so many different people, like, saying different things, and I think it was a challenge, but I think she has for sure, like, taken that on and just embraced it, and I think at the beginning of the year, it kind of hurt her a little bit, but... Since then, she has just been, like, headstrong and sitting back and just kind of watching that and then, like, trying to, like, put myself in her shoes. I'm just like, wow, like, that's impressive.
So what was one thing she did physically well? If we were just going to talk raw, being the 6 fundamentals, passing, digging, blocking, serving, setting, what's one thing you saw significant improvement in this volleyball season on the international and domestic level?
I think... transition setting, which for me it's like very important. If I don't have someone who's a good transition setter, that comes with me being smaller. Like, I need to have someone who can put me in a good spot regardless of where the dig is, and I think she is hands down this year has gotten significantly better at that.
Do you think that's what separates like there's different levels of open, all right? Look, on a general level, I think the difference between double A and triple A and open is a serve. For men's, it's a serve.
Yep.
For indoor, it's the middles, right? Double A and open. But different levels of open. Would you agree that transition setting is what divides the 1% or 1%?
I think for sure. I mean, if you can dig a ton of balls, but if you can't put them away,
right,
then it doesn't mean anything. And at the highest level, you're not going to get that many opportunities. So you have to be able to execute when you do get those occasional digs. So, yeah, for sure.
Okay, now what's one thing that you would like to show a little bit of improvement on? Now, I wouldn't say significant because I don't think you're like this is going to happen overnight type person. So allow me to shape the question this way. What's one thing... and we can talk about the physical or the other. What's one thing that you'd like to show a little bit of improvement on as the season comes along?
I think throughout the season, I kind of had like I would have like good runs of side out, and then I would like dip, and then kind of like stay at that level, and then like some tournaments would go back up,
Yeah.
and I think going into next year, it's just more consistent side out. Just like they're gonna serve me the ball, they're gonna pay for that, and I think I had dips in that for sure. And I mean, not saying it's gonna be 100% because I mean that's just not possible, but for sure, just more consistent serve receive.
Right. I think you acknowledge that everyone goes through those patches. It's just about how many points do I give up before I snap out of that?
Yep,
Maybe. All right, cool.
for sure.
Let's talk about from the neck down. I think you for a girl who covers all of her bases, it's a question.
Yeah.
It's a real question.
Mm, I don't know. Do you have
She
something?
gonna say nothing.
No, I'm just like, there's so many things that like I want to get better at. I'm just like, how
I'd
can I
like.
get faster? I'm
How
like,
about this? How about this? How about I speak out of line and tell this elite athlete what she should do better
I love
because
it.
I got balls like that. I want you to your serve to space. I want you to spend more time in practice, where your serve to space and the estimated time of arrival and your serve location comes so practiced that you create more out of system situations because and at this level, right, where everyone's siding out in system like you're supposed to, sometimes, right, out of system creates
No,
these
that's
plays.
for
Yeah.
sure as a
Yeah.
team. Like we talk about that, we have to be
Yeah.
more aggressive
When I think of
serving
good
wise.
servers, I think of Betsy Flint,
Oh yeah,
right?
for sure.
I
Nasty
mean,
serve.
and having worked a whole season with her. I was at LMU with John Mayer and
Yep.
Mansfield or whatever. I mean, God, there were practices where we didn't even talk about anything else except that,
Yep.
and it was the only edge LMU had that. You go against
Yep.
UCLA or USC straight up or LSU straight up, we're going to lose. We need
Yep.
something else.
Yep.
And that's what that day, remember John, they beat LSU and
Yeah.
UCLA the same day?
Yeah.
All of that was serve. So,
I think
so
that
if I
is
had to give you one
even
thing that I want to see you do a little bit better, I want to see not aggression at the service line. I want to see constant pressure.
yep, for
This
sure.
like me, I'm poking you at your shoulder, right?
Yep.
And you're okay with it because I'm Jason, right? But I keep doing it, and
Yep.
if I keep doing it, if you punch me in the face, I won.
Yep.
And that's what constant pressure is. And you know what I'm talking about as an elite
Yep,
athlete because
for
this when you're serving, you're not looking for quick results. You don't have to ace someone to make someone's life miserable.
Yep. Yeah. I
How's that
think
sound?
even at the next level, kind of how we were talking about that like little difference in the next level, I think for sure is serving. If you lollipop serves to the best of the best, they're gonna side out close to 100%. So you really do have to be more aggressive. You have to find ways to get them out of system, and I think we for sure have learned that this past year, and I think we can take a little more risk. Like maybe if we do err a little more on serves, like we have to be okay with that because we're trying to make them put them in an uncomfortable position. And I know mom, if you're watching, she's gonna disagree because everyone's like, just get the serve in the court. I'm like, no, you have to be aggressive at the next level.
I just made it look.
Yeah.
Mom, if she serves lollipop, she's gonna get licked.
Yeah. So it really is.
Doom, doom, doom.
Yeah. So that's for sure something that Tara and I both talked about as a team collectively. We for sure need to be aggressive serving.
Is killer instinct a natural thing or is it taught?
Oh, I think it's natural.
Yeah.
I think it's just it's in you or it's not.
I come into this question already having my own opinion, but I don't want to have an opinion on this. I need to one time in this podcast to let your answer stand alone. Is it natural or is it taught? What did you just say?
I think natural. You either have it or you don't. There's just something. There's a switch or there's not a switch, or it's always off, or sometimes it can be flipped on.
Right. I like you because I told a friend of mine. In fact, I had Theo on the podcast, and
Love
I
Theo.
told Theo, like when you had Misty May, or I'll go back even further back, and you had Jackie Silva, who won the first gold, '96 Olympics. I don't know where is she right now? Florida International, something like that. She's one of the people that still have like hair sticking out of her bathing suit. She's a true first openly gay player, but I'm like old school.
Yep.
I mean, old school Stonewall lesbian,
Yep.
Don't watch Chappelle. And I said, and today in this game, there's only 2 girls that have that attitude. If you serve me, I'm going to F you up. And one of them was Betsy Flint. And the other one was you. You have this mentality. If you serve me, I'm going to make you sorry that you ever did. And now you have to deal with me. I'm up in your face the entire match until I win.
Yep.
And everybody's like, there are other players like that. And I'm like, no. I don't get that from Sarah Hughes. Sarah Hughes, I love and respect. And as far as ambassadors for the sport, it's good when she wins, and she deserves it when she wins.
Yep.
Kelly Clays or Chang, a whole lot of, a little yell, a little bit of that carry on yell at the end and this and that. That's fire, but that's not what I'm talking about. That's fire, and we respect her too, right? Then you got the silent killers. You got Kelly Larson, Kalinske. When she's on, right? Stockman. I'm missing so many people. April Ross, right? Even April Ross. April Ross is a tactical and a technical person that will take your lunch money. But when it comes to that whole, I've only seen it with Flint. 10 years before that, not Flint. I've only seen it with Misty May Trainer. 10 years before that, I've only seen that with Jackie, and I'm convinced they only come once every 10 years. Though I'm lucky in my timeline, I'm honored and privileged to have you and Betsy in the same whatever, because she's someone that came up that didn't get a lot of the recognition she deserves.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Everyone talks about Sarah, talks about Kelly, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but we got a killer at the service line who goes straight Jakari's mode on you guys. She'll go Jakari's ace, Jakari's ace. She got served more this year.
Yeah. Sure.
And to my surprise, that was a lot of people's strategy at the end. People served you more in the beginning, and then they're like, no, we'll take our chance with the power, because you had a nice mixture of power and finesse. And now I find them going back to you a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. Rightfully so. Kind of like what we were talking about, I for sure had those lulls and serve receive and siding out.
But is there something else that goes beyond stabbing your gas tank that would be a reason to do that? Like, I dismiss stabbing your gas tank. All right. I could not put the camera on you and they would think you're from Africa. You don't get tired. I'm African. I don't get tired. Right. Yeah. So I'm dismissing that as one of the things. What would be that? They just see something where they think some of the things you do well, they have the best chance of combating, or tough question here.
Yeah. I actually am always curious. I would love to be a fly on the wall and how teams strategize against Taryn and I, because it is just how are you going to play us or something? Because no matter who we go into a match, everyone does something different, which is it's so crazy that there's not a consistent thing that people do.
They're just trying to try something new so they can win.
So it is just it is kind of crazy. I really don't know. I don't know what people's strategy is going in, but I would love to just listen. I'm sure everyone would love to hear what people say about.
Should we call Betsy and ask her?
Betsy, how do you play against this?
She'd be so mad if I did that right now. I'll do what I want, Jason. Click.
Yeah, right. We're just gonna ace him off the court.
Yeah.
But
please.
Yeah, I would love to understand. Because I really don't know.
I'll give you another example. When Phil was playing with Rogers, and very much with Nick at the end, right? There were a handful of teams that are like, no, we're just going to go to Phil. Yep. But you knew why. Like Bruno and Alisson, if you're going to go at Phil, and if stabbing Phil's gas tank or adjusting your matrix as the game goes, where you figure out what he's doing and get points and blocks or forcing the head out or whatever, or digs, that's about clientele. You can't do that without Alisson, right? If Mull and Storm decide to do that, right? They can do that because you got Andros Mull, who in my opinion is the best blocker in the world.
It is
He's
incredible to watch.
Christian doesn't get enough credit because people forget he never gets served. So there's a reason why. Come on, hello.
Yep.
So I kind of understand that because they're thinking about the long game. Phil will get when you watch those matches, Phil will get the first 3 shots.
Yep.
embarrass them and everyone watching will be like, this is why it's not a good idea and that's why it's filled. But then you're like, wait for it.
Yeah. He may give
it.
you a couple points here and there. It's really,
Yeah. Wait
yeah, I
for
don't
it.
know.
Because I remember watching that match. Bruno and Alisson against Phil and Nick. And, you know, the Aussie commentator's like, all right, soon, I don't know when this experiment's going to be over. But then when the first set's over, Bruno and Alisson won 22-20. And then the second set, 121-12.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's something behind it, which goes back to we come full circle, right? With that question, we can't answer this. I asked it because I don't know the answer, and it's pretty cool. You don't know that either.
It's so tough because in beach volleyball, I mean, that they could do that same game plan in a match that they play 3 hours after that game, and it could be a completely different story. So it really is just like, it kind of is a thing of like, even when you make a strategy going into a game, it's like, at what point do you like scratch it? We're going to go to the other player. So it really is. It's so tough, and it just it really depends on the day of how that person is performing. A lot goes into it. Maybe even where's the wind? Like it's big difference. Indoor, same thing. Big difference. Wind. Don't have to deal with that indoor. Nice.
So we're gonna wrap up a little bit. And at some point during the summer, when you come into Manhattan Beach or Hermosa, let's do this again, and let's talk about something else.
All right.
Let's talk about basketball. Let's talk about, do you have a boyfriend? Is she single? Let's get into something.
We're really getting personal.
Yeah. There's an empty bottle of vodka back there. That's Mark Fornicari, man. He brought that. We went 2 hours and 20 minutes.
That whole thing?
Yes.
Oh gosh.
Actually, no, there was a little bit left, but the point.
Oh my gosh.
Point taken. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I would be unwell.
Yeah, well, it was challenging because when you have booze and there's a cold drink behind us. In fact, can you hand that to me?
Oh wow.
Jesus, it's heavy. Careful.
Do you want the napkin too?
No, I got my
That is large.
Thank you. So what happened is when you put cold vodka, because and this, your tongue turns cold, and it can F up a podcast. Like
gosh.
It took every bit of my acting ability and the years of learning voice and speech, tongue manipulation, and speaking with distinction. It took every bit of that to actually whatever, but
wow, yeah, that's
you could
dangerous.
easily be like, I Thor do,
Oh, also just the alcohol alone. As soon as
dryness in your mouth, I Thor do.
Yeah. As soon as I get some drinks flowing, I just start spewing. There's definitely the voice in my head that says probably shouldn't say that. It for sure it doesn't work.
Okay, so one last lightning round. This is for you and for you only. These are quick question lightning rounds, and you're so good. It ain't gonna last a minute. I promise you. All right, let's turn on my horn. And thanks for doing this. Horn. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
There's so many places because I like to talk or whatever that you kept us on volleyball, and that's so because this is about you, and they really want to know more about you. But for some reason, I like to just have a conversation and talk shit. For sure. So here we go, lightning round, and boom. What's your favorite food?
Oh gosh, breakfast food, hands down. I can't even pick, but just breakfast food.
Anything for breakfast, I like that. Yep. Omelets?
Yeah, I like
French toast.
I would do a sweet and savory. Nice. I would go. Give me like an omelet, maybe like an eggs Benedict, and then maybe throw in some like banana Foster French toast.
Perfect. Favorite comedian?
Oh gosh, I think Amy Schumer.
Nice. Oh wow. Last good book you read? I always ask you this.
Oh, what? I'm big into Colleen Hoover right now, so honestly, any book of hers. I mean, I know it's a big thing right now, but literally any book of hers I have not disliked.
Pool or beach?
Beach.
That was easy. That was the fastest one. Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter?
Oh, I actually have not watched either. Harry Potter scared me as a kid.
I don't watch no fucking Harry Potter.
So
screw that.
Neither.
Dude. No, me neither. Thank you. Favorite sport outside of volleyball?
Basketball.
Favorite action film star when you were growing up?
Oh gosh. Favorite action. No one came to mind.
Okay. Because you're thinking about now. Think about when you grow up.
I know.
Turn back and boom, first one that came to your mind.
Well, Tom Cruise is just on my head because I recently watched Top Gun. So.
And what's wrong with that? The Mission Impossible series? If you only watch Mission Impossible and not all the other stuff he was in, like Days of Thunder and all that stuff, That's a win, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like me, if this was a lightning round question, I would say Bruce Willis. And he's not. It was just the first thing that came to my mind. Like, if someone asks you what your favorite movie is, there's something you think initially, and then you start, and then you're like, no, it's not that. So I was just trying to yank the first thing out your head. Like me, favorite movie, I would say Goodfellas, and that's probably not true either. It's just the first one that came to my mind.
Because you could ask that question, say, in like another hour, and something else may come up.
Dude, we can go another hour if we keep going, dude. And you have to be hungry right now because you're always hungry.
What do you mean? I don't even know what time it is.
No. Look, I promise you I would do it in an hour and a half because we've been averaging 2 hours or whatever, and I know you took some time out of your busy schedule to do all this.
No, I appreciate you having me.
But let's do this again, and Jeff is gonna be in town too. We'll do, let's do like a little 4-way.
Yeah.
And we could just talk about anything. Because by then, you'll have basketball to talk about, right? Where the Pelicans and this and that. I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan. I gave up my Knicks card. I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't do the Knicks anymore, dude. Look, where's my camera? When Dolan sells a team, y'all come see me, okay? Then we talk about loyalty, all right? Yeah. But now I'm on a team where I'm like, Simmons you got a guy that don't even want to play. You got this dude that think the earth is flat, and you got Kevin Durant who wants to be traded, and
he is balling, though.
Is he, though? Yeah.
His, shooting percentage is, ridiculous.
Yeah. Who's the best player in the NBA right now?
Oh, gosh.
Today. Not by body of work. Who's the best player this season? Like the best player in the NBA, is LeBron. He's the top 2 GOAT guy. But this year, no. There's 6 names we could put ahead of him.
Yeah,
I like Greek. I go Greek freak.
Giannis.
Just young, energetic.
Luka.
Nice.
There's a lot. KD has been freaking balling too, so
KD might be our guy, right?
Tough. Also, if Zion stays healthy, he's just a freak. If he's playing his game, I don't know who can stop him. But yeah, I don't know. Steph was balling too until he got hurt.
Yeah.
I don't
Who's
know.
in first right now? I wonder.
I think Boston. Jason Tatum has been playing well.
There's a Duke guy. Every time
Boston's up there.
There's always a Duke guy involved, man.
Sure.
Krzyzewski. I was at his game, his 1,000th win.
Really?
Just luck. I'm Forrest Gump. I'm always at the right place, right time. He's playing St. John's for win number 1,000. I don't know if it was Duke's win number 1,000 or his, but they played St. John's. It was at Madison Square Garden. I was living in New York at the time,
I actually just watched the Redeem Team movie on Netflix. So
Tell me!
So good. I highly recommend. And it was really cool to just kind of see the background of that team. And also Coach K, it was his first year. Yeah. And it was really cool to kind of see what he would say behind the scenes and stuff. So I would highly recommend watching that.
Can you appreciate the level of respect that even professionals, there are certain coaches. Look, NBA is one of those sports, probably the only major sport where if it's between a coach and a player, if the superstar power is even, coach got to go.
Yep.
With that being said, Popovich, snap 2, show some respect. Krzyzewski, snap 2, show some respect. Larry Brown, who coached Allen Iverson, one of the toughest personalities and one of my favorite players of all time. Brooklyn guy too. Show some respect. So I get that. Like baseball, I don't know. Football is still very much coach driven.
Yeah. I think I agree.
But Belichick's an untouchable.
Oh, yeah.
My Buffalo Bills. How about my Bills though, huh?
Man, that team, that crazy thing that happened, Damar Hamlin, that was wild. And
do you know if they win that game, they're a number 1 seed, right?
Well,
if they played that game and if they won,
yeah.
They would have been the number 1 seed because they'd beaten Kansas City. Yep. They would have won the tiebreaker. So I know Cincinnati's talking about no fair and this and that, but I'm like, dude, tell that to the Bills who basically control their own destiny.
Yeah, that whole
Sean Ladig, the goat of the boot, best defender hands down.
What up, Sean?
The goat of the boot. What does that mean? She's like, I have no idea.
The boot. That's Louisiana.
Oh, the boot. Okay, cool. I should get the boot for not knowing that. All right.
The boot.
All right, so I got to give us the boot, but before I go, let's plug your website. Let's plug your Insta and your handle. So for your to grow
Yeah.
you grow your already big army.
Yeah, tknvball.com. We actually have a new like merchandise shop and stuff up, so you can go check it out on the website. And for sure, if you wanna, I think my Instagram handle is like Kristen_Nuss. That sounds right.
That's it. Yeah.
But yeah, we seriously appreciate all the support we get. I love when people reach out, send message on just random days. I love it. We always try to respond, even both Taryn and I. You can reach out to Taryn too. But yeah, if you have any questions, we always love
Dude,
answering.
you're just like my 6-year-old. I just want to hold you. I just want to get up and hold this girl. She's minding her own business, and I'm like, you're like, okay, help. All right, guys. So Kristen Nuss might love you, but me, I don't love any of you. In fact, I can't stand any of you. So for all of you at home, for all of you on your iPads, for all of you on your desktop, who runs the world? Old school, baby. Old school. For my homegirl, Kristen Nuss. I'm Jason DeBiss. This is episode 161 of the Option Podcast. Stay with me. We're going to hit my music, and we're out. Come check out the Option Podcast on optionvb.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.